So I just did this and it didn't save on either platform. It's like my entire internet just hit and everything went black. So we're here again. Hi, welcome. My name is Tamara and I will be here today to explain to you and what we do here. So welcome YouTubers and welcome my banditers. That's Corny behind me. Don't mind him. He's just here to remind you not to take yourself so seriously and that we're all here to have a real good time. So let me explain who I am first and foremost and why I'm sitting in a chair. I'm here to reintroduce myself. My name is Tamara and I am the inventor. I like to say I birthed it really, of Bandit. And if you're here on Instagram, you already know the Bandit. But I'd like to spend 1 minute with my YouTubers and explain to you what the Bandit is. And then I'm going to give everybody a live demonstration of how to apply it again. So we'll do a quick tutorial. But first, let's discuss my credentials. I have been an amateur athlete my entire life. Started in the pool like most little babies, and then just absolutely fell in love with being in that moment. Right? Being in that moment. And then something happened when I was 13 and I was diagnosed with scoliosis. And at that point, the doctor had asked me, do you want a rod put in your back or do you want to continue working out for the rest of your life? Because you're going to need strong back muscles to hold that spine. And I remember checking in with 40-year-old Tamara and saying, okay, 13 years old, you're fine to make this decision, but what's going to happen in 20, 30 years from now? Are you going to regret this choice? And I remember just saying, that's annoying. I guess I'm going to have to like literally be in fitness for the rest of my life. So it was kind of a deal that I made with myself very early on. And it wasn't always easy, I'll say. In my early 20s, I did struggle a little bit. But that is the crux of why I always have used physical fitness as part of my daily everything. Now, that being said, I was very lucky to be built up strong with those swimming muscles, right? Because you get really, really nice core work and full body workouts with very little effort that you feel at that moment. And so moving into the next phase of my fitness, I did what most people do. In high school, I was, in the weight training class and going to the gym and lifting heavy muscle building metal and things like that, like my beautiful little kettlebell we see here in the corner, you can't see. And then I basically just kept trying to evolve the situation because I saw a lot of wasted opportunities, and then when I started training in combat, Kung Fu is amazing. Kung Fu is incredibly fully consuming. You have no time to think of anything but Kung Fu when you're doing Kung Fu. And from there, I learned Qigong through that Kung Fu system. So you learned how to be a beast and then bring it back down. And that was 20 years ago. And I absolutely love Qigong. And I'm so happy that it's finally trending at the level that it deserves to, and that people are finally understanding what that internal energy can do for you when you learn how to bring it outward. And that is not just for physical, my friends, but up here as well, especially up there. And so I come from a background of Kung Fu and amateur MMA fighting. I'm going to emphasize the word amateur. And post-pandemic, I don't even feel comfortable, saying I'm an amateur MMA fighter. I'm more of an amateur MMA fighter / MMA hobbyist. So I can bring you all the details and this little nitty-gritty facts and stats on any fighter out there that you can think of. So I absolutely am obsessed with the combat world. And how that ties into Pilates, you ask? Well, let me tell you. Did you know that Mr. Pilates was actually a Mr.? Because see, I didn't until Pop Pilates introduced that fact to me. Because most people learn Pilates and think female-driven, that's for ladies, moving on. But I'm here to let you know, my friends, that it couldn't be further from the truth. Pilates is excellent for any combat fighter. Pilates is excellent for any average, normal, everyday person who sits at a desk. From this range to that range, it makes perfect sense for you to want to apply Pilates to your everyday life. Now, a lot of people consider Pilates an exercise, and it is an intense exercise if you want it to be. And now here's where I'm inserting the inclusions. Okay, so we are making sure to emphasize two things here. Pilates is badass, and boxing and MMA is badass. But they all have levels, right? So you can be standing here with us in our Bandit boxing programming, and we could be asking you to do a jab, right? And back up, and then do a jab, and then back up. And you might say, like, my I can't do that today, or I don't have that range, that's absolutely fine. So you're just gonna kind of come here and back out. You're gonna use the lower half. We're always gonna have options for you because all we're doing is we're keeping that body moving and we want it to flow, right? Now, what's interesting about that is I know what you're thinking. How is that a workout? Well, that's where the bandit comes in, my friends. Because when you add resistance, this, right, even if you can't be here, it's still giving you movement, it's giving you exercise, and it's changing that exercise from aerobics to resistance, right? Because you've got the attached resistance with your bandit. So even if you can do small range of motion, it's excellent when you have the resistance attached. Even if you're just keeping that back foot planted, right? And you're coming back, or you're taking that step and you're reversing it. When you have that resistance attached, you're going to feel it and it's going to encourage you to take that next step. And so maybe you just want to start to break it up a little bit. Maybe you're not comfortable here, breaking it up. Maybe your arm doesn't even want to come out that much. That's okay. You're just gonna move your shoulder into it. Because the most important thing that we're doing here and why we love these boxing movements and incorporate them into the programming is for what they do for your core and how they help you understand the kinetic chain and how they really help you understand how to use your body and what parts of your body specifically are being used when you do movements. Now, you might say, I'm not a boxer, I'm not interested in combat sports training, why would I want to stand there and do a jab cross? The same reason, my friends, that you reach for your sugar or the coffee or that glass in the mornings. See, the thing about these back muscles up top here is they very seldom get used in day-to-day activities, right? This specific muscle that I absolutely love so much and love highlighting on my fitness page is the serratus anterior. And the serratus anterior lies right back here. And it's just tucked away underneath your scapula. It's attached to your ribs and it's attached to your lungs. So besides the things that it can make you feel when it's out of alignment, and that's more on the physical therapy side once you've already reached that, the thing about strengthening it is it really helps strengthen all those other parts. It will give you better breathing because when your serratus anterior is locked up or it's in inactivity more than it is it's inactive more than it's in activity, then you're going to feel a potential strain, or this is where a lot of people will pull their back muscles simply because this particular movement is not incorporated so much into our day-to-day. The thing about the serratus anterior is the higher up you go, like a basketball player, right? The more you're going to open it up. So when you go to bend and reach for something here, you may think that you're really opening it up, but science has determined and kinesiology has determined that the higher up you go, the more it's really going to help open that up. Now, the life hack is when you add resistance. It's still not going to give you the total range of motion as you would if you had your hand above. But if you don't have the ability, if you have a rotator cuff issue, things in this nature, you can bring it back out with resistance and you're going to get better muscle activation here and you're going to feel it more. And the idea of being able to feel it means once you've connected with that muscle and you can feel how it moves, then you can back up and take smaller steps to really nurture it and help it get more and more open, right? So when we can utilize something like the bandit and just kind of sit there and be like, okay, you've got one attached here, you've got one attached here, and you're just doing this, you're very gently pulling out that serratus anterior out of that stagnant motion, and you're exercising it in that very small motion that you see here, right? And now I'm just now turning my wrist, see that? So we'd start here, that would be your first range of motion. So while everybody else is on the floor and they're doing this, right? You're very happy and very effectively just doing this. And you're gonna be smiling because the way it's gonna feel when you open up those muscles back there and the control you're gonna feel like you have being able to do that because it's very unique to your body and you're gonna feel every little tweak and where you need to make that tweak to really get that open. And in case you're thinking, how would I know if I'm opening it properly? Here's how you'll know. You'll breathe better. Because the biggest thing that nobody talks about with the serratus anterior is when it is restricted, it can give you anxiety because it's pushing on your lungs, so it's restricting your breathing. And that, I think, is something so many people should talk about. Now, speaking of others talking about things, I'd like to use that to segue into the other amazing thing I like to do here on this page, and on my YouTube page. And that is synergy. So I think the most ridiculous thing I see these days is everybody claiming to be the best at everything. Now, there are some places where that applies, right? If you are teaching a very specific niche, I mean a micro detailed niche, if I'm here explaining to you how each kernel of corn can maximize its popping, there can only be one of those. There can only be one person out there, maybe two, that really have spent the amount of time it takes, which is a lifetime, to understand the details of each kernel and their potential to be living and growing at maximum. So it's besides the technical, absolutely splitting atoms and those things that we need, thank you very much, to be at the top levels of anything that we do. Without those two people that are doing that, everybody else is claiming things that you can find on 10 other pages. So how do I combat that? How do I stay relevant in a world of so many fitness trainers and so many different programmings that claim to be the best? Well, I go and experience them all for you, my friends. Because the truth is that, to me, the best fitness has always been all of them. If your body can allow you to entertain exercising all of these different things, in the sense of maybe some kettlebells today, tomorrow you're going to go running on the beach, the next day you're going to go to the gym and do some weightlifting and calisthenics. I truly believe that the best bodies built are the ones that do all of it and constantly shock their systems with new movements, right? So even if you're doing jumping jacks and you've done them for a week, and I say try jumping jacks with resistance, that's already modified enough for your body to be shocked and feel a difference, because you're adding more resistance. So other tiny little muscles that you didn't use before are going to come into play. But besides that, I just want to make sure you guys really understand that this page here is kind of like the hub of the hub. Like, you know, Angie's List, right? She's a reference page. I have my own amazing programming. It's called Banded Boxing. And so we've incorporated boxing with resistance and then right into Pilates. So Pilates is the mat work that we do for our core. And then when we stand up, we're utilizing boxing movements to do banded boxing, which is resistance exercise with boxing movements. And now from there, the way I've created this programming is by going and researching my favorite top level, most amazing and trustworthy coaches and fighters. And I've shared a few of them before, and one of them I'll mention just so you understand the levels of people that I listen to and learn from to build a better programming for myself, is Tony Jeffries. I absolutely love Tony Jeffries. I don't always love all the fighters that he trains, but I do love Tony Jeffries, and his fighters do show the results of his work. So let me make sure I am being clear here, because I love the concept of what I do, and I just want to see more and more people start to feel comfortable in this and do it. And what I think it takes is simply trust. So let me be the first home on Instagram and YouTube to offer trust. Let me be the first person on Instagram and YouTube to say, hey, let me share some amazing resources with you. Let me share with you where I've picked up the details of why I absolutely know this is the best way to get the maximum effort out of this particular movement, out of this particular food, out of the time that you're going to eat this particular food. Like, y'all, we get technical, but there's no way on earth I personally, as one person, could claim to do all of these things that I would like to bring to you, because this fitness world is a little overwhelming, right? The food industry is a little overwhelming. And I have noticed something with both of these industries, and that is they're trying to sell you something. So they're going to do that with marketing more than they're going to do that with knowledge and logic. And so I'm not going to try to even be those guys. Rather, I'll say to you, I have spent over 35 years, don't do math, on cooking in the kitchen. And I was lucky enough to start in the vegan industry at 13 years old, don't do math. So that means that when you fast forward to now, we're not going to talk about the decades, that means that I've seen what's happened to veganism, just as an example. And funny enough, I've also seen what's happened to the fitness industry. And at some points through it all, we were actually trying to bring people the best of the best. And when I say us, I don't mean you and me. I mean the people above us that are making the mass quantities of the things that they want us to buy. I don't encourage people to shy away from those things, but I also don't want to encourage you to feel that you need every one of those things. So what I like to do is filter things right through this channel and say, here's what you should do. Here's who you should listen to if you're having concerns about the validity of somebody, because let me tell you, there's a lot of people out there that absolutely can do a very good job at talking and selling. So I help you look for the things that you want to look for, right? It's like Mama T. I'm like the big aunt that is like saying, hey, you're new to this, let me show you what you should look for, or better yet, what you shouldn't look for, right? Because this is your one body and you want to make sure it is safe. You want to make sure you're listening to people who know what they should know and sharing those things with you versus just trying to upgrade their own personal agenda. So I say all of that to you to say, once again, I don't have the highest credentials in the athletic world. I have a very good amount of credentials, and those being my ISSA certification, my Pilates certification, and that is on the fitness side of things. Besides that, I've spent over the last 20 years doing combat training through Kung Fu and mixed martial arts. And when I say studying and learning MMA, I mean that I literally have gone to every single type of gym for the wheelhouse of MMA. I've trained in each sport individually so that I can understand each sport individually and then understand how they all tie in together so that I can sit back and come up with the master plans and the most effective ways to build a fight for a fight camp and things of that nature. So I've applied that same concept to fitness and in here on the mat. And I truly believe combining boxing and Pilates is a great, full, complete programming that everybody should start to understand. The core is where it all comes from. And if you don't have a strong core and you have nice, strong shoulders and nice, strong legs, that's great. You can do really good through life, through your class, through the fight. But what you're not going to have strength on is stamina. That Pilates core will give you so much stamina. So if you're a fighter watching, or you're a triathlete watching, or anybody where endurance and stamina is a factor in your victory, you're gonna absolutely wanna hear this next part. Nothing for 30 years that I ever did, nothing, besides swimming, I will say, because you're literally forced to use your diaphragm in the strongest ways. But when you're out of the water on dry land, there is nothing that I have ever found that is more enhancing, effective with the shortest amount of time and the least amount of effort, and sustaining than Pilates when it comes to core strength and stamina. There is nothing that I have found that has activated my core muscles in the sense of being able to literally lift my pelvic floor and flatten my stomach out like a magic show in ways that MMA never really taught me. So learning from the most sophisticated levels of every part of our bodies is what I'm trying to do here. And again, I say to you, there's no way I could ever do that all on my own. So it only makes sense for us to share other people's resources and really bringing it home and saying, hey, listen, Bob Smith over there is the person you want to know. If you want to talk about micro detailing, if you're a fitness competitor, this is the guy you want to talk to. This is the guy's YouTubes you want to follow. If you want to focus on gut health, this is the girl that I absolutely believe in, and the content of her videos, the consistency of her videos, and the way she evolves her education on her page daily is absolutely trustworthy and watchworthy. So these are the sorts of things I mean when I say synergy and bringing it all together, because my friends, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And I say that to you because, as we all know and love MMA so much, it is only MMA because what did we do there? We took all these amazing sports and we brought them together because the whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. So I very humbly proceed in my journey of bringing you together some of the best programming that I think we could ever build. And again, why do I have the confidence to say that without ego? Because I'm not saying I did it, I'm saying we did it. I'm just a very intelligent person when it comes to fitness and how to build proper fitness and what we lack and why we get injured and these sorts of things. That's where I really like to shine. So I'm here to show you my amazing programming and my amazing product, which we will get into in just a moment. And I'm also here to say, trust me with your questions, trust me with your resources, because if there is anybody out there like Tony Jeffries, who teaches responsible boxing and responsible fitness, I will find them, or I already know of them, and there's no sense in you wasting your time on that. So shoot me a DM if you have a specific question about fitness, about nutrition, specifically get it to the nitty gritty, gut health, whatever it is. And just to show you how deep down the rabbit hole we get around here. I did go ahead, excuse me, I did go ahead and get my Gua Sha Stone certification because I absolutely believe in Gua Sha. Having my foundation coming into combat sports being Kung Fu, I 100% feel blessed that I got put on to Chinese medicines and Chinese healing 20 years ago. I already had an interest in it prior to that my entire life, but being educated on it by some of the most amazing Kung Fu practitioners, both on the mat and here, absolutely put me light years ahead of other people as far as the things that I'm trying to bring to you, which is why I tell you I have a very good eye at knowing who to trust and who not to trust, what the holes are, why the holes are there, and whether or not you should bother giving them your time or your money. And one of those little nitty-gritty details that I like to bring out all the time is this beautiful little mat here. I paid $2 for this at the Chinese market, and you can see images of these online, and they're all gonna be a little different, but the bottom line is that the sections of your feet do emulate and show you where the pain is in your organs and your body. And so what this thing is designed to do is you just start sitting down, right? And then you put your feet on it and you just kind of let them massage themselves. I know it looks like a little rock wall, it's so cute. And then you're gonna stand up. And when you go to stand up, you're just really trying to feel where the pain is. And the reason I brought this out is because I want to show you when I say we're trying to help you from inside out, from outside in, every little part matters. To understand those little micro details in your body and understanding why you hurt, where you hurt, is really going to help you get connected to your body. And that is mentally and then physically. But when you get into the deeper levels of the physical side, like the kinesiology of it and how your body connects to itself, that's really where boxing and the Bandit shine the most. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to use the Bandit because a lot of people have some confusion. I've noticed the most common question is, where's the band, or how do I attach one band to the other? So the Bandit does not have a band, okay? The Bandit is your band's best friend. So I just want to be very clear on that. The Bandit does not come with a band. The Bandit is your band's best friend. So when you have a band normally, and you have those exercises, what's always happened is the slippage, right? Or we're concerned about the slippage. Or even more so, there was things you couldn't do because there was no way of doing it without naturally slipping, like a handstand, for example. And so here we're all familiar with this one, right? We all know this move. And then what happens is if the instructor says, now let's do a jumping jack, right? And then a burpee. Well, that wasn't really a jumping jack, but you know what I mean. And then you're here, and then we're gonna do a leg lift. Oh, here we go. It's gonna start to slip, right? And then we're gonna get back up into position, and then we're gonna see what happens there. That when you grab your little tool here and you attach it, then not only do you have a free mind and knowing that it's not gonna fall, but it also opens up so many more exercises that you can do resistance with that you couldn't before. For example, jumping jacks. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap the band around wherever you want it on your body. And you're gonna leave those little flaps open. Let's do this side together. So you'll just unravel your bandit and you will take it wherever you want it. Maybe you're gonna put it above your knee today, maybe not. So I'm gonna keep it right here. And that's it. So I've wrapped it around and now I'm just going to Velcro it shut, leaving my little flaps open. And then I'm going to grab my band and put it on like I normally would, even without the bandit. And then you just take the little fellas there again, close it up. So now I can be here, right? And I can be jumping jacks here. And then I can jump down and do those push-ups. And then come back up into a squat. And then go back into those jumping jacks. And then back into the burpee, into the push-up. And it's all there. I can do all kinds of things with the Band-It. So that's the difference, right? And if I was to put the Band-It up top and do handstands on the wall and walk it, then that's going to really help my obliques and relax. So you see, it's endless the way you can use this. It's really up to you. It's kind of like a format walking reformer. If you're going to go on vacation and you work with a reformer, you might want to bring this with you. So that is basically it, my friends. Here on this page, you will see Pop Pilates, and you will see Band-It boxing, and you'll see the two combined. So that's as far as programming goes. And then here we will be constantly showing you amazing ways you can use the Band-It. So look for those videos and remixes. And then as far as the nutritional side, I will be posting some more recipes and I will be more frequent with those. But in the meanwhile, I will also be sharing other amazing recipes because that's really what I want to do. I want to build. So we're going to end today with some push-ups because today is day 742. 742 that we have been doing the 22-day push-up challenge. And we do this for mental health awareness. I want to make sure you guys know that this page here is for all of us. You can only be as great as those you surround yourself with. And the whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. So whoever's going to do these push-ups with me now would be the time to get on your feet just to get back down to the ground. And we're going to do 22. Are you ready? You can do these feet together or apart. You can do these on your knees, or you can do them on the wall. Because the other thing we want to make sure of is that everybody knows they're included here and all levels are welcome, okay? So if you're going to do them on the wall, you're going to know this. The further back you go, the more difficult it's going to be. So if you keep your feet closer to the wall, you'll be all right. That'll be an easy level, and you'll just be here. And the only thing you want to focus on, the most important thing that you should focus on to maximize doing wall push-ups is keeping your elbows in line. You don't have to. You can bring them out here. But if you really want to get the most out of it, you're going to go right here. And you'll feel this through your chest wall. You'll feel this through your triceps. You'll even feel it a little bit down here in your lats. Okay, so again, the options would be wall, bringing your feet out. Let's say a foot is light, bringing it up 2 feet will be a little bit more difficult, and so on. Or you can bring it right here to your knees. And the knees are really amazing. The knees will actually work your core intensely, more intensely than if you do a full body, I truly believe, because there's less of your body to compensate. So you're only working the core. So let's not laugh at those knee push-ups, my friends. Doing them in proper form definitely gives you great results. So don't even look at that one as a beginner movement. Look at it as a whole different movement if you want. Because again, if you do them correctly with a tight core, you will see a difference. Or you can do them, of course, the full range with our feet and our hands only on the ground. Okay? So we're going to do 22 push-ups, and then we're going to go right into the iron horse that we're going to do for 22 seconds. Are you guys ready? Sorry about the leaf blower. Oh, I guess you heard me. Okay, so not like this, and not like this, but like this. Are you ready? All right, let's go. 20, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it up top. We're going to do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it up top, and let's get
right into that iron horse. 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, my friends. That's it. It takes you 1 minute to give back. All right, my friends. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Come here. Have a good day. We'll see you soon.